Hello everyone and welcome back to the Brightworks and another match of Beyond All Reason, where today, I'm going to turn my fan off here actually, we're going to be taking a look at a naval game that was sent on over through the Brightworks Discord channel. If, by the way, you have a match that you'd like to see cast on the channel, best place to send it is over on the Discord. That's always linked down below in case you wanted to check that out. Naval game as well as a Legion game. So Legion Navy is the next step in development. It's where Legion is headed, but it's not out yet. So it does mean that there's some, shall we say, some interesting strategies that Legion commanders can go for in more of a supporting role in maps that happen to have Navy on them. Namely speaking, building those 1.5 metal extractors. Those T1.5 metal extractors, they produce twice as much metal but use up quite a bit of energy. And, well, when you're in the Navy, that can be super, super useful. But for a faction that otherwise produces much less metal out of each and every metal extractor, yeah, that can be very detrimental on the high seas. So I'm curious to see exactly how that's going to play out here. It's a little bit of an untested water, pun well intended, as we do watch our blue commander go ahead and make their way past their third mech and into the shallows here of the, well, map that we're on today. The map, by the way, Serene Caldera, and our blue team leader, the 26 open skill hero that goes by the name of Prime Hybrid. Prime Hybrid clocking in here at, 27 open skill with a 4-chev as well. Going to be showing us what they've got as an Armada commander playing in the water. Cortex typically favored in the water, but it is always nice to see some Armada shenanigans. Sometimes here and there Armada commanders can pull out some really impressive stunts on the water. Wow. We've got a very excited brown commander here who is going ahead and pinged the tan commander about 3.5 trillion times. Curious why. Oh, okay, so we pinged that much to say join the voice chat. Alright, well, anyway, our red team leader spotting the backline here as a Legion commander. Just as I pointed out earlier, it's going to be Knight Rider 69, and that name is quite nice here, but interestingly, we're going for Legion, and we're going for Legion Planes. So as I mentioned earlier, Legion constructors can build the overcharged metal extractor. It's a unique building to the Legion faction. It is 250 metal and I believe about 3,000 energy in order to build one of those, and it uses 30 energy per second. So very, very energy expensive to build and then very energy expensive to maintain. But what you do get out of it is double the metal production here. So rather than going from 2.4, these would all go up to 4.8, whereas you can see the regular metal extractors only produce 1.9. They lose 20% of the production value per metal extractor. So in certain situations, like where you have maps like this where loads of the metal extractors are underwater, yeah, Legion does have a unique advantage in the fact that you can put those overcharged mexes underwater, and then they're much more difficult to kill. You can't really snipe them with the boats like normal. You need the depth charges or submarines in order to kill them. They're much less prone to being run by lighter units. It's a weird sort of niche space, but if Legion can pull it off, then it certainly can give them a decent advantage here. Alright, well, Aircon's moving around over here for the red team. The blue team opting much more to get into the water. Now on Serene Caldera, an entirely naval map, I'm going to go ahead and say that I favor the blue team's position here so far. They've got more boats on the high seas, and I think that's ultimately where you want to be if you're playing in a game like this. Pronope, the purple commander here reclaiming the laboratory, apparently content with the units that have been produced here, and going to go ahead and get into more production, perhaps? Into more eco-scaling, rather? Richard Young, the Maroon Commander, stepping forward here, actually just walking all the way to the midsection right now. Going to be building a bot lab, no doubt, trying to claim this geothermal and just lock down the center section. There's not really any other reason to hold on to this. This geothermal, I mean, it's nice in and of itself. 300 energy per second is definitely quite nice. But, of course, this also is a very exposed area of the map, so it's not like this has particularly any crazy strategic value right here. Wouldn't mind seeing some torpedo launchers on the coast here, some coastal torpedo launchers firing away those heat-seeking depth charges. So far, though, we just have construction bots, mostly. Our first conflict of the game. How about that? Oh, maybe not. Okay. Like ships in the night. The Glaucus, or Glaucus? Glacis? Not entirely sure how to pronounce this Legion hovercraft, but it is a nasty little beastie. It fires a sustained heat ray like many of the Legion units, and it can do tons and tons of damage. For a light hovercraft, a fast attack hovercraft, they can be really brutal to go up against, especially in the early game. They can take down most of the early T1 units in a big enough swarm. They can do serious damage. In fact, that's kind of consistent throughout Legion's entirety as far as hovercraft goes. They're actually one of the few, actually the only faction that has hovercrafts that are really yeah, kind of worth anything. Most of the hovercrafts in both of the other factions are not good enough to fight boats, and not good enough to fight tanks. It means they're just not good enough to ever use, really. There's very niche circumstances where they can be effective, but outside of those circumstances, really, they're just kind of pathetic. Legion, however, doesn't suffer from that same issue. They have a lot of amphibious units that actually can go toe-to-toe with boats. The Triton, namely, being one of them as well. That is a T2 amphibious tank. It's not underwater amphibious, though. It's a boat tank, so it floats above the surface, and it, for all intents and purposes, is treated the same way as a boat. It can be attacked by torpedoes and all that sort of good stuff, as we do have a nice little fight on this right-hand side. Prime Hybrid getting a wonderful surround on a whole bunch of these units, using the Dolphins to engage that flanking damage, and then using the frigates to do, well, a whole bunch of damage. Does mean that at the end of the day, Tan Commander Smitch here does lose most of the frigates that were on the front line. Large part of the snowball has gone down here. Love the command and control from the Blue Commander. Yeah, making sure... Oh, that hurts. Just as I was praising the Blue Commander for the command, all of a sudden losing one of those bows to the Commander's D-gun is brutal. Not the end of the world, though. Relative to how efficient that trade was otherwise, I would say still not a bad deal. Bunch of Mosquito gunships going to be pestering down a bunch of the units over here. Their little light missile doesn't do much. Scraping the outer paint layer off of the boats, but layer by layer, they can peel back the HP bar on most of those units. Geothermal coming up, almost finished right here. We need to eat up the laboratory, apparently. We have 4 metal production right now. Barely any metal production whatsoever. Actually, I'm going to go for an E-converter. Okay. I think eating the laboratory makes a lot more sense here to fund that, but anyways. Collapse, the Cyan Commander here at 18 open skill and 3 chevron. A little bit of a learner's match here as we take a look at all this. Going to be fighting some of these Legion hovercraft. And we can have a look at some of their hovercraft. I feel like we haven't taken a look at them very often. The Neris is their hover tank. It's a dual-shot plasma hover tank. It's sort of, I guess it's on the lighter side. Compared to the other hover tanks in the game, the other factions hover tanks, they're a little bit on the lighter side. The idea being produce more of them, fire more guns, have wonderful effect. And oftentimes they do. They can be very overwhelming early on, much quicker than most of the other factions. They definitely fall off later into the game, though. That's when you start going into the pinnacle of Legion hovercraft, though. The shotgun tank. Cardia. The Cardia, 550 metal, 11,000 energy beast of a tank. It fires a big shotgun burst at a very short range, so if you have the units to kite it, i.e. destroyers, then you can effectively shut down those hover tanks, and they once again become useless, like all hover tanks eventually do. However, if you don't quite have the range yet, those shotgun hover tanks can actually do a lot of damage. And you can see, like, a decent brawl right here. Hover tank's doing an alright job right now against, well, some of the units. But, like, doesn't have the energy for a D-gun. Oh, no! Well, an excellent snipe right there. It's rare that Dolphins get to snipe a commander, but there we have it. The yellow commander falls right there to a bunch of gunboats and Dolphins that pushed it off the island. And now there's a couple thousand metal lying in wreckage on this front line here. We need some sort of a way to reclaim all this. Frigates being spared over in this direction from the orange commander. We have the Cyan Hero Collapse moving forward right now. We're trying to, at the very least, kill this mech's having performance issues. There we go. Finally manages to get that laser up and firing. And will eventually replace that metal extractor. 2.4 metal per second going back to the economy is not bad. There's those Neris, finally overwhelming these gunboats. Remember, these are the cheapest boats on the block here, though. The Green Commander could do well to just go ahead and produce anything a little bit heavier. Frigates, destroyers, submarines, any of that is going to work phenomenally here. But if we're just going to keep feeding meat into the grinder, well, gunboats are the unit to do it. Orange Commander manages to halt that push, but the blue team definitely has the advantage at this point. Metal advantage, certainly, but also a positional advantage. The map is theirs for the taking. We do have a construction boat over here, is wonderful as well, going to be used to reclaim some of that metal. Hopefully it pulls back here as we've lost control over this section of the map. Loads of fighters up in the air as well. Are we going to take advantage of the fact that we have such a huge investment in air power? So far, the Green Commander is the only other one in the air right now for the blue team. At least as far as I can tell. Taking a quick look around the map. The Red Commander has a much superior fighter force. What are we going to do about it? Well, we've got the Mosquito gunships. Hazam. Hazam, the one open skill hero. Not even sure how that's possible, but Hazam, the one OS hero, going to be, yeah, using those gunships to try and push back any of these units that aren't escorted by anti-air. It really does not take much anti-air in order to shut these down. But I suppose that is quite a few of them. At this point, up to 11. There probably was a few more, but at this point, there's 11 left. Smitch under the water here, reclaiming any of the wreckages. Lovely stuff. Super important to keep your commander in tow with the units, much more so than any other tech in the game. Any other, yeah, tech, that's the right word. Any other tech in the game, bots, vehicles, any of that stuff. Much more important than either of those, because the commander's build power can be used to great effect revitalizing any of these units on the field. They just have enough HP that it's worth using the build power that way. Not many land units do. Whole bunch of boats moving all over the place, but man, what a giant army right here. Or Navy, I should say. Looks like a grand total of, wow, 12,000 metal worth of Navy built up right here between the blue and powder blue commanders. Prime Hybrid and Data Cult, or Data Cult. Going to be, yeah, I mean, putting on the pressure. There's no reason they shouldn't here. They have the destroyers out and running at this point. Static defense should all start to fall. LLTs certainly, but even some of the heavier static defense, like those coastal torpedo launchers or submerged torpedo launchers, naval torpedo launchers. Yeah, this is an excellent brawl right here. At this point, once you've got a Navy this big, basically what you want to do is just produce these res subs. Get as many of these res subs out as you can. Just get 5, 10 res subs out, and they'll repair the entire Navy for you. And then, of course, once you take a decent fight, you can resurrect, and then use that Navy to take an even better fight, and a better fight, and you use that snowball to your advantage. It's difficult to do, and if you can manage to pull it off, it feels great. Certainly very, very tricky, though. What a wonderful surround right here, though. Beautiful movement from both of the blue commanders as they go ahead and surround this entire fight. That is just beautiful. A perfect pincer. Oh, that is a wonderful trade right there for the blue commanders, man. The tank commander must have looked away for just a second and wondered where on earth did all the units go. They simply disappeared. Now we're going to take a 2v1. We took one 2v1, and now we're going to take another. And, yeah, that's two destroyers at least. Maybe a third as well here. Yep. Lovely stuff right there from the blue commanders. Top-notch gaming right there, certainly. It's that map awareness, right? Being well aware of what your teammates are going for. We've got thugs in the middle of the map. I didn't even realize what this was. I thought these were gunboats on the mini-map here. We've got thugs for some reason. It's time for all of us here to enjoy a lesson on why land units should all fear the boat. It's because the boat is pretty good. The boat has a big gun, and the boat does not fear you. It outranges you, it outguns you. It's more handsome. It's better looking. Fear the boat. As well you should. The thugs here not standing a chance against this Navy. Systematically dismantling them. Yeah, one shot at a time, blasting them away, and all the thugs are dead. Okay. Laboratory has been ravaged here as well. Looks like it's just barely up and running here. But yeah, I mean, the Lavender Commander has full control over the middle of this map here. That looks like that's Cash Miss X-43. Blue Navy still pushing forward here. Taking some losses, but not nearly enough to stop this push. We have a rejuvenated defense here. The frigates, or destroyers, pardon me, are firing away. There are so many frigates here, though, for the blue commander. I think we just have enough metal to go, 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 go. All guns ahead here as these boats do turn on their side and fire away with all 4 of their cannons. All 4 barrels of their 2 cannons. The destroyers don't have such issues, but the frigates definitely want to be broadsiding. What's better than that, though, is just ignoring the units and going straight for the base. Oh, or maybe not. With cold feet here, the blue commander will actually back off from that base. Yeah, we did see it. Favoring the trade right here, I suppose, against the boats rather than the main production center. We do have a torpedo bomber, by the way. That's the Legion torpedo bomber, the Asicus. Coming in to deploy those heavy warheads. One of them does miss. The other one connects, though. Not bad. 18% damage. Nothing to scoff at. We have the Red Commander under the water right here. There's actually a very exposed T2 laboratory. Oh, if only they knew about the T2 lab over there. Oh, they could totally walk on over to this laboratory and just send a D-gun. That would be devastating to Data Cult here. Unfortunately for the red team, there's just no scouting. Smitch
Destroyed.
blown to smithereens and 1 or 2 volleys from those plasma guns, and man, just showing off how beautiful and dangerous those cannons can be. The main guns on the boats are devastating. Once you've lost that snowball, it's very, very hard to get back into the game. Bunch of the martyrs. Okay, connecting decently. Anti-air probably should be the primary target here for these mosquitoes before anything else. They are firing away, but their missiles aren't rapid fire. They're stockpiling, so once they run out, they do take a while to recharge here. And fighters are coming in for the escort. Okay. Gonna turn into a big old dogfight right in the middle here. Beautiful. Legion versus Legion dogfights have got to be some of the most interesting in the entire game. Watching those fighters actually fire away at each other with their front-facing guns. But the age of T1 is now over. Yeah, the blue team has slowly but steadily built up an advantage that I don't think the red team has really been able to recuperate on. Their heavy tech investment, their heavy air and tech investment. I think if we had gone ahead and used these bombers to win this left-hand side, maybe cement this push on this side, force the orange commander to win over on this side, and then eat up all this metal, use it to go T2, maybe we could set ourselves up for a little bit of a base race situation. But for all the air power that the red team has had, none of the backline has been harassed here. Like, we have mexes that have just been up the whole game. All the islands have stayed up and running. There's huge swaths of tidal generators. None of that was ever targeted down. It's just a little bit of an oversight here. Red team was so focused on the defense using those units that they forgot to go be aggressive, and beyond a reason. Getting aggressive is the #1 strategy. It's what wins, it's what works. Forcing your opponent to defend is a very, very good strat in this game. But okay, torpedo bombers are out, and these are T2. I mean, they are beefy boys. The single anti-air does go down here. Air forces are pulled, but it's going to be a second before they head on over in this way. We need to see these dropping their bombs, please. Oh, there's way more anti-air available. Oh, no. Yeah, there's just so much anti-air. We've got tons and tons of these skaters here, the stealthy patrol boats. Tons of destroyers as well. Even up against T2, the destroyers can be quite powerful, and every volley does so much damage here, my goodness. A near-perfect engagement right there for the blue commander. Armada forces always want to be facing forward. It's where both of their guns can fire. And that was pretty much as perfect of an engagement as you could ever hope for, with the destroyers in the back, the frigates in the front, and the anti-air boats basically right in the middle. Another perfect sandwich. As the powder blue and the dark blue commanders both push forward at the same moment and shut down the entire pink production center. Nicely done. Fundamentally speaking, it doesn't get much better than that. I mean, that is essentially the perfect moment. Torpedo bombers firing away once more. They're missing some of those torpedoes. Torpedo bombers are relatively short-sighted, so including a scouting plane is almost always necessary, making sure that torpedoes actually hit their target. Or have a target to hit, rather. Buccaneers with their heavy laser cannons and their little energy batteries flashing on the sides of their double-pronged heads. Going to do lovely stuff here for shutting down any of these bases, including any of the submerged units here. Things the frigates would be quite vulnerable to, but the Buccaneers, of course, are not. And this fight over here has gone well as well. Normally in this sort of a situation, you have one side that's going well and one side that just ain't going at all. In this case, though, our poor Maroon hero has been trying to stockpile energy in a couple of storages, but just doesn't have a way to. Yeah, this push over here is looking quite good as well. Res subs have been produced and are available, and we also have the battleship, the Despot battleship. Multiple of them actually available here, and the res subs continuing to pick up whatever they can find. The T2 advantage. Anti-air en masse, firing away here at these heavy gunships. Heavy or not, it will not matter. The unceasing tide of naval warfare headed towards the red commander. Get a beautiful view of these Buccaneers as they push forward. All said and done, this is oftentimes the reason why Navy is so frustrating to play. Little advantages can become big advantages very, very quickly. It's also very difficult sometimes to gauge whether a fight will be effective or not.
Commander destroyed.
And it looks like that will be all,
Commander,
folks. The red team throws in the towel as the blue team's
Commander
overwhelming
has
aggression,
died.
their wonderful use of res subs,
Commander
and
has
their
died.
all-around, I would say, better usage of the naval units in general manages to secure them that victory. At the end of the day, it's going to be the boats
Ended.
that win the fight on the naval map, not the planes. Thanks a ton, everybody, for watching, and I sure hope you enjoyed, and if you did, of course, feel free to like and subscribe and join the Brightworks community via that link down below in the description to join the Discord channel. There's also some other fun links down there I'd urge you to explore, and I hope, beyond all of that, that you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you in the very next game of Beyond All Reason. Peace out, everybody.